What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. So I just finished watching episode 7 of The Last of Us. My reaction is on my YouTube memberships. If you are new here, you are not a member, you need to go over there and check that out. I've got 2 levels of memberships over there. Level 1 is for $2.99 and you get priority replies from me, special polls, and live streams. Level 2 is for $4.99 and you're going to get everything that level 1 has, plus you're getting all of my reactions to all of the shows that I may watch, such as this one and a bunch of other ones that I have over there, any movies, and all of my uncut Try Not to Laughs. So go over there and check that out. If you're not a member, you won't be able to see my reaction. Trust me, you want to see it. So, oh boy, this was an interesting episode. Now, just so you guys know, for those of you who don't know, I started playing The Last of Us and I didn't finish it because the game got deleted. So after the whole situation with Henry and his brother, I know nothing about what's going on. So apparently this is part of the DLC version of it. I didn't see this coming because of course I didn't play the game, but anyway, so in this episode we see that Joel is still alive. Now, I gotta tell you guys, going into this episode, I was like, before I even started watching, I was just like, you know what? This is not gonna feel the same to me because Joel is dead. Because this whole thing, this whole series and the game and everything, Joel was just a part of it. I had no idea that this was gonna happen to Joel. I thought that he was just gonna kind of carry on through the whole thing. So when I thought that he died, I was just like, oh my God, so how, what? Like how? Like it didn't even feel the same going into this episode until I started watching it and I saw that Joel was still alive. So we see Ellie ends up at this place to apparently be an officer. I kind of had a thought that it was Fireflies, but it's not Fireflies. She's there to be an officer. So she's in training along with a bunch of other people. I saw mostly girls, but I don't know if it's like an all girls thing or what. But so she's minding her own business, jogging, and this girl comes and knocks her headphones off, and she gets into a fight with the girl, right? The girl has to have stitches done or whatever the case may be. She's got a black eye, and she's sitting here talking to, I guess, the main officer, the trainer, whoever he is. So he's basically telling her, like, look, you can either choose to be with us, and you can choose to be out there where you have to fend for yourself, eat crappy stuff, and do whatever it is, or become a firefly, or get killed by them. But here, we eat good, we sleep good, we basically have, what he painted was a regular, as close to a regular, good way of living as possible, where you know, where he's concerned. So she chose to kind of still be there and not to get into trouble or anything like that. So she, the girl who knocked off her headphones said, oh, you don't fight people. Your friend fights for them, or your friend fights for you or something. And she's not here anymore. So I guess her best friend ran away, was there. We didn't know then. But we see Ellie, she's sleeping in her bed, and somebody's like trying to get into her room. Somebody sneaks into her room, and it ends up being her best friend. Sorry, I forgot her name already. But anyway, so she sneaks in there, and she basically tells her that she just ran away for a few weeks, right? And it kind of got harder for her to come back while she was gone. So anyway, she wants to take her out. She's like, no, I'm not going anywhere with you. Like, I can't do it. I'm going to get in trouble. And she's just like, look, trust me. So she gets her dressed. They leave out. They end up taking, her friend ends up taking her to the mall. Apparently it was locked down because there's infected in there. But this girl apparently has been gone for so long that she kind of found different places to hang out, and the mall was one of them. So from that point on, I started to notice Ellie's body language, and I started to kind of sense like, Ellie's kind of giving her these looks, and I'm just like, she's got feelings for this girl. And I don't know if her best friend feels the same, but the way that they are interacting, you can kind of tell something's up, and it's not just them being friends. Something's there. It's like an unspoken, I guess you can say, chemistry somewhat, or something that they don't know how to act on, because there are more moments where there there are kind of like awkward looks, or Ellie's kind of looking at her, not googly eyed, but kind of like in admiration. And I'm just like, I started to pick up on that stuff. So I'm like, all right, eventually something's gonna happen. What? I don't know, but let's keep watching. So she ends up taking her in this house where they find a bottle of liquor, right? And there's a body there that wasn't there apparently the day before. So the body ends up, I guess they're on the floor where it's really loose, and the body ends up like falling through. And they're like laughing. And I'm like, that is so not funny. So they're walking outside, and she's like, is that the first time you've ever seen a dead body? She was like, well, my parents. And I was just like, ugh. Like, that kind of was just like, damn. She said that, not matter of factly, but it was almost like they've been through some stuff, you know? And Ellie, of course, you know, she's just, I don't know what the age is between these two, but it's just amazing to me that her best friend kind of is very aware of what these things are around her. And Ellie is just so like, she seems a lot younger than her, because she doesn't seem to she doesn't know what this stuff is. She didn't know what a contractor was. And so they end up, they're walking, and they're overlooking, you know, where the mall is apparently. They get to the mall, and she's looking in like awe, like, oh my gosh, this is the mall. And you can kind of see how she's looking at her best friend, how Ellie is looking at her friend. And I'm just like, I think her friend might kind of have something too, but it was, for me, it was a little off and on, that made me feel like, I don't know if she feels the same. Maybe she does. Maybe they're on the same wave and they're just not telling each other, type of thing. But anyway, they're going through. So she takes her to the escalator. She was like, Ellie was like, what? An electric stairs? And it just keeps dawning on me, like, Ellie has no, like, she is, like, when did, I'm trying to do the math in my head, and I just can't seem to remember or put it all together. When this, when things started happening, and how old Ellie is, because there is so much, like, did it happen when she was born, and everything kind of went to crap, and Ellie just has just never experienced anything that's normal to us? You know what I mean? Like, was she a baby, and then she kind of grew up in this whole pandemic or whatever, because she didn't even know what escalator was. And so she's so amazed, and she's never seen a carousel, and she took her on a carousel, and she's never seen a photo booth, and all of these things are nuts. And then she takes her to an arcade, and she's reacting like a kid should. She's excited, she's in awe, she's, you know, it's like there's certain things that she learned along the way, but there's certain simple things that she just doesn't know. So they're walking around and they're talking, and they come across a Victoria's Secret. And this part was kind of funny to me. They're kind of looking, and her friend is just like looking through the glass, and she's just like, it looks uncomfortable. Like, it's such a young girl thing to say when you see like lingerie. It looks uncomfortable. And Ellie's just kind of like staring at it. And so her friend starts laughing, and she's like, well, what are you laughing at? She was like, I'm just trying to picture what you would look like in it. And at first I was just like, but I guess because Ellie's such a tomboy, it can go either way, depending on how you're looking at it or how you read that. she gave off like she was being playful because Ellie is such a tomboy, but at the same time, it's just like, why would you make a comment like that? You know what I mean? So then she went off, and Ellie's just looking at this lingerie. She's just looking at it. And she's staring at it, but she's also kind of fixing her hair. And I'm just like, is she trying to get cute for, you know? So anyway, so they keep on going. She ends up taking her to the carousel, right? So she's calling it like a magic horse. She's just like completely oblivious to what this thing is. So they're on there and they're riding the carousel, and she's kind of looking at her, and her friend is just kind of looking all over the place. You know, they're not like staring at each other, but Ellie's kind of like really like looking at her, and all of a sudden she's just like, all right, well, why am I here? You know, like Ellie may be oblivious to certain things, but I don't think that Ellie's a dumb girl. Like, she's very smart. She knows, you know, certain situations call for questions. And she's like, all right, well, why am I here? What are you doing? Like, she's kind of like not understanding why all this is happening, right? So her friend is trying to like do all these things for her, and then she takes her to a photo booth, and then she's just like, is that a time machine? You know, so it's just like, yo, like Ellie must have been born when all this stuff happened, because like, has it been that long? Let me know. Am I not, I don't know what the math is between when this happened and how old she is and why she doesn't know what these things are. But anyway, so they go in the photo booth and they're taking these pictures, and they have like this awkward moment where they take their last picture and they're kind of like giving like these little scary faces, but her friend is like all over her, and she's kind of looking at her like, this is weird but not. And so she's staring at the pictures, and you know, then she takes her to the arcade. So they're playing Mortal Kombat, and she apparently broke into this coin machine, so they're using the coins and everything to play the game. Meanwhile, we see that there's an infected around the corner from a toy store, and it wakes up, but it doesn't do anything yet, right? So anyway, so once they're done playing that, she takes her through the food court, and she takes her to this, I guess it looks like a nacho place. So she's like, are you gonna get tacos? I'm like, really? You think you're gonna get tacos in this place? So she takes her back to her room where she's been staying. So apparently her friend's been staying in this spot. So her friend surprised her, got her a gift, a second version of that bad joke book that she carries around that she thinks is so funny, that she was sharing with Joel, the jokes that they were, you know, sharing. And she got her a second volume. So she was all excited about that. And she's reading off the book. And Ellie goes to kind of look around, and she sees that there are, I guess, what look like pipe bombs. And now things get real weird, because she's just like, her friend ran off and got recruited to be a firefly. Ellie is staying behind to be a soldier. So that's a bit of a conflict there. But they're best friends. So when she finds the bomb, she's like, is this what you're doing? So she swears to her, like, I would never let anybody hurt you. I won't do anything. Ellie gets pissed off. So she storms off. She leaves. She goes. She's just like, you know, is this why you were here? Is this why you brought me? Like, what is this about? And apparently they recruited her to be a firefly, but they're sending her to Atlanta. And mind you, they're in Boston. So she brought her there to have a good time with her, basically, to say goodbye. And now they're like all in their feelings. So she was like, it's not easy. She was like, you pretty much said it. So bye. And Ellie walks away because she's such a hard behind, right? So she finally gets to almost to where they entered the mall, when she's like, she sheds a tear, and she turns around to go back to talk to her, I guess, or to get her, and she kind of hears what sounds like her screaming, and it's not her, actually. She's in a costume store. So it drew her there to where her friend was. And so basically they're, you know, talking to each other, they're, you know, having a conversation about what's going on. And you know, it's real strange, and Ellie's in her feelings because she still hasn't like done anything or told her how she feels or anything. So um they get to a point in their conversation where she's like, all right, well, you got to do what you got to do, pretty much, right? So her friend has these masks, and she tells her to put it on. Ellie didn't realize that she took her Walkman, so she starts playing music, and they got these masks on, and they're dancing, and they're having a good time. They're dancing on top of what looks like, I don't know if it's a jewelry store or a perfume case or what it is, whatever it is. But anyway, they're having a good time and everything, and all of a sudden, Ellie takes her mask off, and she's kind of looking at her, and her friend takes her mask off, and she kisses her. And I was like, oh, there it is. She made the move. But Ellie doesn't, she's just like, all right, well, what now? What do we do now? She was just like, we'll figure it out, right? So they get off the thing, and all of a sudden, the infected pops up out of nowhere and starts going crazy. It starts attacking the friend. They're both trying to fight this thing off. Long story short, with that, Ellie ends up stabbing it in the head. But now Ellie is kind of like, oh, that was close type of thing. So her friend is standing there because her friend got attacked, and Ellie's kind of looking at her, and her friend's looking at her, and her friend's looking at her arm. She got bit. Ellie looks at her. She got bit. So they both got bit by the infected now. So I'm just like, oh man, no freaking way. No way. But Ellie's immune, right? So now they're frantic. They're frantic. They're scared. They're crying. They're sitting there now side by side. They're like, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? So she basically tells her, we've got a few options. We can off ourselves. She doesn't like that option. So she was like, we keep going. No matter what it is, whether it's a few minutes, a few days, we're not going to give up. We're just going to keep going until we go crazy together. And that was a touchy moment, despite, they shared a kiss or whatever the case may be. It was, at this point, they don't know what's going to happen. They're two young girls who, they don't have any adults around them. They don't know, they just got to figure this out at this point. So they're sitting there holding each other and everything. So then from there, we see a flashback of Ellie running up the stairs after we see that Joel is still alive. So when she goes up the stairs, you thought that she went up the stairs and left him there, because that's what it looked like. It looked like Joel told her to leave. She goes up the stairs, she grabs the doorknob, and you see a tear coming down his face, and I'm like, oh my God, like that's where he's just gonna die. And so at this point, we see a flashback that she didn't leave. She's like ransacking the house to find something to help Joel, to help him live. And she's like literally going through the house trying to find whatever she can find. And finally she finds a needle and a thread, and she goes back downstairs. She's stitching them up, and that's where it ends. So we don't know what's going to happen with both of them. We don't know what's going to happen with a friend or her. We don't know what's going to happen with Joel, because apparently they're all still alive at the end of this episode. So this was pretty interesting, pretty good. The ending had me wanting more, which I like. So I can't wait to watch the next episode next week. But leave your comments down below. Let me know what you guys thought of episode 7. Let me know if you enjoyed my review. Go over there, check out my reaction under my YouTube memberships. Go become a member if you haven't done so. And if you haven't done so, please subscribe to my channel. Hit like, share, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you guys can get notified whenever I pop up on your feed. I'll see you guys later. Toodles!